And just like that, the weekend is, well, all but done. As I'm recording this, the North London derby's underway at the moment, and Arsenal are leading 3-0. Tottenham have been awful. And obviously results went very kindly, didn't they, for Arsenal at the weekend? Didn't go very kindly for West Ham. Got to be honest, I thought the results around us actually were really bad. I mean, thank God Aston Villa got a result against Leeds, because that was looking pretty worrying for us, really. Especially when when Leeds were leading. But I want to talk about obviously West Ham, the fallout of that game, and the sort of response. It's a strange one, really strange one. I mean, didn't think I'd be feeling like this after getting a point away to Bournemouth, because ultimately it's a good result, right? It's a positive result. If someone said to you before the game 2-2, I don't think there'd be many West Ham fans that would have said no to that. I think most would have said, "Oh, do you know what? I'll take a point." I certainly would have done before the game. If we can get something from this game, it would have been a real positive. And look, forgetting the game, we'll come to that in a minute. Taking the context about how it all unfolded, a draw away from home in the Premier League against a team like Bournemouth is a positive result. Full stop. There's no two ways about that. That's a good result for West Ham, right? So there is a big part of me that's pleased. There's also that part of me as well that's pleased because it's another game we haven't lost. That's now 3 Premier League games. We're on a run now, unbeaten, which is good. I think if you look at the teams down the bottom, that's very positive when you see the 3 teams that are currently occupying the bottom 3 in their form. I think when we look at our form, it's looking good. So these things, right, are really positive. I'm certainly I'm not going into this week feeling down and fed up and angry. But I can't help but feel a little bit like that, because there's a part of me that's just got that feeling, because it felt like it should have been more. Ultimately we were in a really good position. I actually felt the first half at Bournemouth, it played into our hands. I thought that although we weren't dominant, which I didn't expect us to be honest, I wasn't expecting us to be dominant, but I actually thought that we were effective in everything we were doing. I thought Callum Wilson was outstanding. His 2 finishes were excellent, proper strikers finishes, just clinical, no messing, straight in the back of the net. Great. I'm really, really pleased. He got a little bit fortunate with the first, but he got the shot away so quickly, the goalkeeper couldn't deal with it. Second goal was fantastic. But I was pleased with the first half. I was watching it thinking it felt like Nuno got it spot on, exactly how we wanted to play. We're gonna defend well, we're gonna be robust, we're gonna be tough to beat, we're gonna be very effective when we're on the ball, very effective and deadly on the ball. And I thought it worked really well. And I thought Bournemouth was struggling. As much as they had a lot of the possession and stuff like that, they didn't really have a lot in terms of threatening us at that point. And when we got into the break, this is just a comfortable win for West Ham. We are cruising here towards 3 points, which would have been absolutely massive. The problem I felt was 2 parts. I thought, one, that Bournemouth improved. I thought Bournemouth came out second half with sort of renewed energy. They looked more. They're moving the ball around a lot quicker. There was a lot more urgency to their play. I thought they were impressive, actually, in their response in terms of their second half performance. So I will give them that. But I felt that West Ham played into their hands, actually. I actually felt Nuno failed in the second half in this game. One, with the substitutions. I think taking Guilherme off at half-time wasn't necessary. Didn't really need to do that. He brought on Kyle Walker-Peters. I just felt that was the wrong call. And then obviously taking off Wilson as well, which was quite early on. It was in around the 51st minute, something like that, way too early. He didn't need to come off at that point. There was no need for that change, in my opinion. It just felt like what had happened was that we didn't recognise, and Nuno certainly didn't seem to recognise, that the next goal in that game was critical. When you get to 2-0, I find 2-0 was, don't get me wrong, it's a nice position to be in. You've got that cushion. But the game can swing so quickly. Once that team's got that foot back in the game, the momentum, especially when they're the home side, that everything just starts building for them. We desperately needed that third goal. That should have been our aim. In my opinion, we should have been out on going out for that second half, totally in the mindset of thinking, let's get that third goal. Let's get that third goal in the first 10 minutes or so. If we can that will kill this game. And let's be frank, right? That would have killed the game. If West Ham had gone 3 up in that second half, we'd have won that game. I'm not talking just with the obvious because we just scored more, 3-2. But you get my point. If we've gone 3-0 up, I think Bournemouth down tools. I mean, Bournemouth think, okay, we're out. We're not going to score 3 goals. So that third goal of the game effectively was critical, and it had to come to West Ham, and it didn't. And I don't think it was ever going to come to West Ham by our manner of the second half. I thought that we went out in the second half not with that in our minds, thinking let's get that third goal. I think we went out thinking let's hope that 2 goals is enough to win this game. That's what I thought the mentality was, and I think that's what cost us. Actually, I think that it backfired, and I think we saw it against Burnley. I think we saw that mentality a little bit against Burnley, where we were hoping what we had was enough. And when I'm talking about when we brought back to 2-1, it was also like we were holding on a little bit, and we got away with it. We got away with it against Burnley because it's Burnley. No disrespect to them, but they're not Bournemouth. Bournemouth are a far more clinical, established Premier League team that are going to punish you. And you're also as well with Nuno. I felt that he was asking a defence which we know is vulnerable, we know isn't the most competent, we know has got weaknesses, mentally and in terms of ability as well. I think to ask them to defend for that period of time, for the best part of an hour, for let's say 50 odd minutes, against a team like Bournemouth is very hard. You're asking too much, and I think that was. I think it has to be said. It has to fall on Nuno's lap. That I think it sits with him that we've not gone out with the right mentality in that second half. I think it bit us, and I think ultimately, if we're being honest, well, it's not. I think everyone would agree with me on this. We were lucky. We actually came away lucky in the end to get a point. We were clinging on for dear life. It took save after save from Areola to keep us in that game. It's. As I say, I don't want to be downbeat about it. I don't want to be frustrated about it. I don't want to come away from a draw against a team like Bournemouth when we've been down the bottom of the league, where we've been getting battered by teams looking so bad. I mean, you've only got to go back to that Brentford performance at home and Leeds and all that sort of stuff. And to suddenly now be in a position where we've got 7 points from a possible 9, I don't want to be downbeat about that, because ultimately what we've achieved recently is excellent. It's got us back into a better position. But it feels like 2 points dropped for me because, in a sense, because of our approach second half, but also like now it also feels lucky we only got a point in the end, which is ridiculous. You shouldn't be coming away feeling lucky you got a point when you were 2-0 up at half time. So it's a really weird one, a hard one to kind of judge and where you see it and how you feel about it. It's hard to be ecstatic, and it's hard to be annoyed. It's very, very strange. But look, it's not one I'm going to dwell on too much. I don't think it needs to be. I don't ripping into the manager and getting annoyed and all that kind of stuff. I think that, and I don't want to be, as I say, being people know this channel. I'm not a negative person. I try not to be too. I don't want to fixate on that kind of stuff, but it feels like a lot needs to be learned from that game. And I think one of the main things we need to learn from it is to start being more confident in ourselves and being a bit more belief in ourselves. Actually, we should be going to get that third goal. That's how I feel. It feels frustrating. It feels very frustrating, that one. I've got to be honest. I'm feeling a little bit annoyed about it, but it is what it is. It is what it is. Anyway, I hope you had a good week anyway. I'd like to know your thoughts on it, your thoughts on the game. Let's have a look at the old league table, because that's the thing I think is quite key here. Because let's be honest here, right? Results haven't gone our way at all this weekend. In fact, it's been quite bad for us so far. Obviously, Wolverhampton Wanderers losing yet again. I mean, for me, they're relegated. I mean, 2 points from 12 games is just horrific. And they're not getting out of this. I do not see Wolves recovering. Bizarre of Rob Edwards to take that job. I've got to admit, I know he's a former Wolves player and everything, but Christ Almighty, that is a mess he's walking into there, and I just don't see them surviving. So at least that's something. I think for the teams down the bottom, I think it's positive that you've got a team in Wolves that are occupying that bottom spot. So it almost feels like that's kind of pretty much set. It feels like that they're going to be relegated this season. I just can't see them getting out of it. It's going to take they're going to have to go on such a good run now to get out of it, and the fact they're going to need teams around them to keep losing, it's not going to be easy. Of course, Burnley lost as well, which was good for us. against Chelsea. Leeds now, look, I mean, thank Christ for us that they didn't get anything out of that game in the end, because they were leading against Aston Villa. So for them to, thank Christ that it did end up the way it did, because that was looking worrying for us. It would have made our draw look even worse. Obviously, West Ham now out of the bottom three, which is positive. Let's be honest, that is a positive, and I think that's something we need to focus on going into the next game against Liverpool, which is, I think, a good time to be playing Liverpool. Let's be honest here. Liverpool 11th in the play. I mean, bloody hell, we're 7 points behind Liverpool. How on earth's that happened? Yeah, they're having a torrid season, aren't they? But I've got to say, the results around us were not good, though, in terms of Newcastle, Fulham and Forest. I mean, Forest going to Liverpool and winning was, really a shock. Considering the fact as well they won by 3-0 has helped their goal difference out massively, so that's not helped us. Fulham as well, quite shocked to see them get a result. Obviously against Sunderland, I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting Sunderland actually to obviously get the 3 points there, to be honest, the way they've been playing. And then there's Newcastle as well, beating Man City, which I wasn't expecting. So those results really haven't helped us, because that point would have looked a lot better had Fulham, Newcastle lost, and Forest would have looked a lot better, wouldn't it? But it is what it is. Look, this is going to be a battle. There's no two ways about it. I think our hope's got to be now that the bottom three are going to be the bottom three this season. Obviously, Leeds showed a bit of fight, I thought, about against Aston Villa. I didn't think they played too badly, but were just undone by a better team. But I do look at Burnley, and I'm not convinced. And as I say, Wolves are gone. So we just got to keep doing what we're doing, and keep trying to recover, and keep trying to build this momentum. But yeah, it's tight down there. It is tight, and as I say, look, I'm not someone that's going to bleat on about this all week. I'm not going to be moaning about it. I just think I think we got away with that one a little bit there, and I think it's a serious learning curve for Nuno. I think he needs to realise that you've got to believe more in this team a little bit. Believe more in your attacking players. I mean, taking off Fernandez, I don't like. I want us to go and attack teams. We got that third goal. If we'd gone out there with that mindset, second half, let's go and get that third goal, we'd be sitting there with 3 points, I'm sure of it. But it is what it is. Look, I'm not going to whinge your mind about it anymore. I'll leave you to enjoy your rest of your Sunday, whatever you're up to. Have a good one. And it'll be X tomorrow. There'll be some exclusive news coming out. I think we'll do some bits and pieces then. But and also I've got a video. Hopefully, might be able to do it with Gonzo tomorrow. We've been really trying to get our diaries together. It's not been easy, but we will get something in and do a video and get him on the channel, because we want to talk about takeovers and stadiums and stuff, because there's a lot of stuff to talk about there. But look, enjoy the rest of your evening. I'll catch you later. Come on, you ones.